to make it seem like, no, we were all great. We were good. We had a great relationship. Little did we know behind the scenes, there was a lot of pressure toward
ends up
Netanyahu.
being about how do we bash Israel. This is not for me. I'm not interested in this.
Okay,
I love
I
you
know.
guys.
I'm sorry. Let's be good. Let's be good about precious Israel. Let the country committing a genocide. Yeah. Okay.
Zero. I think you guys agree. I fundamentally disagree with you about like every show doing this. I'm sorry.
Cool. So can we continue the conversation?
Yeah, let's.
Okay.
The vanguard will be there, sir.
But anyway, we've teased it long enough. Gavin, do you want to get into the topic du jour, this Jillian Michaels crash out?
Yeah, speaking of valuetainment and PBD products, her take, remember, Zach, was originally sold to us as the brainchild of Patrick Bet-David. He had the brilliant idea to get these 4 or 5 ladies together all in the same room. And we potentially have the best episode ever to react to today. Let me pull this up. This is the new Her Take. And they're all in the studio back talking about, of course, Charlie Kirk, conspiracies. Things got pretty spicy here towards the end. They made it like 50 minutes in, polite, civil. But around this discussion, you see here it's labeled online conspiracies. So I'm not sure what Jillian thought she was getting herself into. It's pretty funny that she agreed to talk about the subject, and then you guys are going to see what happens. But pretty funny stuff. Either way, Zach, do you want to just play this, or do you have anything to say?
Oh, yeah, I'll just add that it was inevitable. If you do this kind of work, you're going to have to respond to something like this. So grow up is my advice.
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%. This is disgraceful conduct from Jillian Michaels, who's just one of the most annoying people, one of the least qualified people to fucking have the job that she has, which is to like talk about politics and like serious subject matter. So like, why the fuck are we having to listen to this lady from The Biggest Loser again? Like, what is going on? But either way, let's take a look.
In cash to adopt an even more pro-Israel stance. Kirk refused the money. If you go a little bit lower, look at the amount of views this thing got. 7.2 million views, 160,000 likes.
Who's the
and then
AF
there's another
post?
post, Rob, if you can pull up the other one that says, right below it, that says the journalist behind the report accusing Bibi of offering $150 million is Max Blumenthal, a man who used to work for the Iran-backed newspaper Al Akbar in Beirut and contributed to Al Jazeera.
Yeah.
I mean,
Why is it every time we track down a lie, we end up finding people connected to Qatar?
Fun fact, guys, he is the son of longtime Clinton advisor Sidney Blumenthal, and you guys might know Sidney Blumenthal because he was the #1 advisor to Hillary Clinton while she was Secretary of State when Obama and Hillary Clinton decided to destroy the country of Libya. Literally destroy the fucking country of Libya and kill their fucking leader, who you could hate all you want. They fucking destroyed the country and left them for dead.
Yeah.
Or Iran.
There's no proof
behind
this ever happened.
So
None.
Wait, how does that debunk the fact
So
that?
he just read it. and
Where's your proof that $150 million was offered from Bibi Netanyahu?
No, I'm referring.
Where is
Wait,
the proof?
please do not get.
No, because I didn't want to cover this, and you guys insisted. And I told you, you cover this
marketplace is
shit,
talking
I'm going to
about.
rip you apart. Where is proof
We're not
that
saying
Bibi
it happened.
Netanyahu
We're really
offered
not
Charlie
saying that it happened.
$150 million? Okay, so we're not.
Okay,
so
what we're
conversely,
reporting on is
now
people
there is
in the marketplace, what they're saying. This is a discussion that's happening literally everywhere. We'd be remiss if we didn't cover
it's
it
a
to
week
debunk
old,
it.
this conversation.
It's still,
Over
I mean,
a week.
it's still
That
pretty prevalent.
is a week old.
It's still going on, Jillian. I
Okay, well, nevertheless, where is the proof that actually
Jillian,
happened?
I just said, according to this guy's reporting,
Mhm.
he was offered $150 million.
Okay,
that was
and
also
also the proof of
corroborated by
that.
Candace.
It was corroborated by Candace, and not only that, by
Candace.
Nick.
and also
Okay,
that
because
case,
that's,
everything.
listen, I like Candace.
Okay.
She has people.
It was corroborated by Candace Owens. So I guess we can trust it.
That's what I'm like. All right, I have to be real. I have to be real. A little bit Jillian is cooking. A little bit Jillian is cooking because Max Blumenthal, all right, DC's favorite Nepo Coke baby. Okay, I don't know. This dude, I don't trust him further than I can throw him. Gavin will remind everyone, well, 10 years ago, he did some good reporting, but I don't trust him. And I definitely don't think you're making it yourself look good if you say, oh, well, don't worry. Candace Owens also signed off on it. Oh, you mean the woman that's being sued for calling Brigitte Macron a man? The woman that said Harvey Weinstein was innocent and convicted by a trial by media? That woman, that real, concrete source?
Yeah. I kind of agree with what you're saying. I mean, she is right to be like, are you kidding me, guys? Like, we're going to go off this stupid fucking story about how, like, this obvious conspiracy claptrap. But then again, I do think that, there's a way to respond to this and debunk some of the bullshit without
totally
reacting in the way that you guys are going to see, which is over the top and unnecessary, sadly, because I do kind of see where she's coming from here, at least from what we've seen so far.
Deadass.
And also,
Okay, because listen, I like Candace. She has people from his own team have said he has not seen her in years.
And yet last year they were on tour together. Last year they were on tour together. So he bumped that
Wait, if you
instantly.
want
That
to talk about
completely
people on
debunked
his
that.
team,
time they've been on camera together was
Andrew, his
2023.
press
No, it was last year.
hold on,
They have a
Andrew,
tour
that
post
guy
together.
was
Let's-
on-
okay,
so guys,
everybody
let's
on
calm
his
down.
team
Let's just calm down
has
for a second.
subsequently said this is not true.
No, they
His
never.
pastor,
They actually.
Colvin,
They
Eric Balling, all of them are like, yeah.
Okay, Eric Bowling thought that he had 2 daughters. Okay, so I'm not gonna.
Okay,
really
Andrew
put my-
Colvin. The narrative is not true.
Andrew said,
Charlie has a cordial relationship with Ackman. There's no blackmail,
also,
no
he
intervention.
said,
Nothing like what Candace is suggesting.
That same Andrew said that
Okay.
Candace and Charlie remain friends.
Th-
I just want to make
He's
sure.
saying this is not true.
But they were literally touring together last
Nothing
year.
like what Candace is suggesting. What does it have to do with
Wait,
their
what does
friendship?
that have to do with you? Just
What
said
does that have to do with their friendship? He's
Jillian,
saying
you're
what
so-
Candace
I
is
can't
suggesting.
engage with you if you don't.
He is
calm
saying
down.
what Candace is suggesting is not true.
He's talking about her suggesting that Israel killed him. We're talking
Right,
about
yes.
100. Please do not conflate the two. Because
Okay,
they're completely
well,
different things.
unilaterally across the board now, we've got multiple accusations that all pile up to the same exact.
No, I think it's the furries. It's the furries. I think it's the furries. But a lot of people.
I don't know, and I don't look.
There
For
is
those who are
zero
saying-
evidence to suggest none.
But you're saying
Guys, can we just
Even
stop for a
Dave
second? This is
Smith
ridiculous.
is like, this is absurd.
Like, this whole thing is ridiculous. There are two things being conflated right now. There are conspiracy theorists who think Israel killed Charlie Kirk. They have yet to provide a shred of evidence proving that. Done. End
We're
of
not
story.
talking about that.
I am talking about something
Well,
entirely
you were talking
different.
about
no,
that.
we're not. Hold on.
Oh, you
Let
were
me
talking
finish
about
my
that.
fucking thought. Okay? The real issue here is that before most people even knew
Honestly,
that Charlie
Anna
Kirk
needs
was
to-
dead,
Anna needs to just demand that they get to swear again on the Young Turk. This is the kind of energy that I need from Karen Kasparian.
Yeah.
real issue here is that before most people even knew that Charlie Kirk was dead, you have Netanyahu giving multiple interviews talking about how, using the fucking moment for his own political purposes, like the fucking
That's
ghoul that he is.
totally
Let me finish my
different
point.
than him killing Charlie Kirk.
Did I
He
not
never
just
said that.
I literally
Okay, so
just
now
said,
we're just gonna make
let
a
me finish
sidebar
my
to-
point, Jillian, because none of us can finish the damn point without someone else jumping down your throat. I don't think that Israel killed him because there's no evidence of that. But I had a problem with Netanyahu exploiting an assassination in this country for his own political means and purposes and lying about the
every other
nature of his
politician.
relationship with Charlie Kirk. Because Charlie Kirk didn't
He
like
did go over
Netanyahu,
the top,
just
though.
like any warm-blooded American shouldn't. Netanyahu is a bad guy. And he wanted to make it seem like, no, we were all great. We were good. We had a great relationship. Little did we know behind the scenes,
I don't
there
know
was a
how
lot
every
of pressure
show
toward
ends up being
Netanyahu.
about how do we bash Israel. This is not for me. I am not interested in this.
Okay,
love
I
you
know.
guys.
I
I'm
know.
sorry.
Let's be good.
I
Let's
have
be good about
zero
precious
interest
Israel. Let the
in
country
fucking
committing a
every show
genocide.
doing
Yeah.
this.
Okay.
Zero. I think you guys agree. I fundamentally disagree with you.
Dude, she's got to be getting paid. She's got to be getting paid by somebody that
Cool.
that is like, hey, you cannot be a part of this. That's what I'm looking at right now. And tabling anything else, right? Because I do think it's shaky to be like, I didn't bring up Candace Owens and her wild conspiracy theories. I'm just using her as a corroborating piece of evidence for this other shaky conspiracy theory. So like, I'll give Jillian the fact that she could have handled that better and actually come away looking like the smartest person in the room had she been the smartest person in the room. But the way that she handled that, where she just gets up and fucking leaves, do you not think that she's getting paid by somebody?
That actually was my first thought, Zach. I was like, okay, she's doing this to like create a viral moment, and like she's been instructed to create a viral moment to try to like embarrass these people for trying to blame Israel or something. But almost immediately after that, I realized that it had the exact opposite effect. And I was like, there's no way this could have been planned without the people planning it realizing that that's what would happen.
Oh no, I'm more suggesting like, oh, she's paid by somebody like who's like a Bill Ackman figure. Now I'm not accusing.
That's
Bill
what I'm saying.
Oh,
To do what you did.
oh no, not to do that, but just to hold like very pro-Israel views.
Oh.
And so I think that because she was so uncomfortable and because she didn't want to be photographed and said, oh, look at, you're a member of this, fucking anti-Semitic, conspiracy-fueled panel here. She doesn't know how to argue herself out of it. She tries to shut it down. She says she doesn't want to be a part of it. Pre-production meeting, I don't want to cover the story, right? I think she's worried about retribution from somebody who writes her a check because she's surrounded herself with people who are anti-Semitic conspiracy theorists.
Interesting. I mean, I definitely, yeah. I mean, I definitely think she wants access to that money. She wants to get those trips to Israel and do all that kind of shit. I think you're right about that. But again, my point is just that it backfired spectacularly because everyone who saw this clip, and it's kind of annoying because Jillian actually is kind of right to be frustrated by this bullshit conspiracism that they're engaging in. And don't get me wrong, we've also engaged in it over here at the Vanguard. I'm not saying we haven't.
We debunked it though.
What?
I said we did a good job debunking it.
Yeah, we for the most part debunked it. That being said, I don't think it's like a sin to fucking engage in, you know, questions about Israel and stuff. But I do kind of get why she's like, all right, we're really gonna, you know, sift through this fucking Candace Owens bullshit. Instead of actually just debunking it though and standing on her ground by storming off, it does make it look like she's incapable of having the debate. And it looks like she has something to hide. And it looks like she's overly defensive because she knows she's wrong. And because of that, almost everyone's takeaway from this clip is that Anna good, Jillian bad. Zionists can't defend their worldview. They can't actually defend Israel. So they just have to throw a fit and get up and leave the table like they're a fucking 5-year-old. Remember when you're like 5 and you like thought, you know, like just pouting and like, you know, what would get you somewhere, and then you grow up and you realize that doesn't fucking work. That's basically where Jillian's at. It's like, it's not going to fucking work. You're not convincing anyone. You're just making an emotional stunt and making yourself and your ideology look terrible in the process.
And in that sense, I sign off on it because every Israel L is a W for the Vanguard.
Yeah, 100%. So let's watch that one more time. The storming off.
Behind wanted to make it seem like, no, we were all great. We were good. We had a great relationship. Little did we know behind the scenes, there was a lot
every
of pressure
show
toward
ends up
Netanyahu.
being about how do we bash Israel. This is not for me. I'm not interested in this.
Okay,
I love
I
you
know.
guys.
I'm
sorry.
Let's be good.
I
Let's
have
be good about
zero
precious
interest
Israel. Let the
in
country
fucking
committing a
every show
genocide.
doing
Yeah.
this.
Okay.
Zero. I think you guys are great. I fundamentally disagree with you about like every show doing this. I'm sorry.
Cool. So can we continue the
Yeah,
conversation?
let's.
Okay.
And that has to piss off Jillian too. The fact that none of the co-hosts were even remotely sympathetic to her tantrum. And they're not only were they like laughing like it was funny that she's acting so immature, but they were also more than willing to just be like, yep, let's keep having this conversation. Yeah, we're not going to be dissuaded from the subject matter because of your little tantrum. You know what I'm saying? So that must also really have pissed Jillian off, as you guys are about to see with her, follow up online.
Oh, 100%. And one of the things we followed her take since its pilot episode, right? And it was kind of up for grabs in that pilot episode who the main voice was going to be, who was going to be the one that was the anchor of the show, right? You know, you're kind of doing your audition, you're feeling it out, and then the producer is going to come up to you and it's going to be like, I want you to start the stories. I want you to introduce the topics and that was Jillian Michaels because her TV experience really showed in that first episode, right? I think all three of these ladies are like, now I can fight for the main mic because I'm not a little bitch. I'm not going to get up and throw a tantrum. I'm not going to walk off the set because I'm losing an argument.
Yep. 100%. And again, when it comes to Jillian Michaels and her position here, like I think it's totally acceptable for her to have the position that this Candace Owens shit is an anti-Semitic conspiracy, but you have to actually argue that position. You can't just storm off the set and virtue signal and call everyone else anti-Semitic. You actually have to make your fucking point and argue it, which is the whole point of the show. And by the way, I think it's also really, again, I obviously we're huge critics of Anna Kasparian over here on the Vanguard. But for Jillian Michaels to act like, you know, oh, this show, you guys are just so anti-Semitic. Like every episode just turns into this, this circle jerk of Jew hatred. Let's not forget, this is a fucking a PBD product, and PBD just fucking invited Nick Fuentes to join his company, Minect, where Jillian Michaels, Anna Kasparian, and Lindy Lee all have jobs. PBD just sat across from Nick Fuentes and whitewashed his reputation, gave him a friendly softball interview on Valuetainment, the same network that her take is broadcast on. So, I feel like it would have been actually downright, like it would have been worth celebrating if Jillian Michaels had come out here and condemned her boss, Patrick Bet-David for this blatant anti-Semitism, elevating Nick Fuentes and his Nazi ideology. That's actually a serious issue. And I would be deeply uncomfortable if someone that I worked for was engaging in that sort of, activities with someone like Nick Fuentes. But to act like her co-hosts on Her Take are the problem, to act like Anna Kasparian and Lindy Lee or whatever is the problem because they're just having a conversation about something, that's outrageous. The problem is your boss. If you want to talk about anti-Semitism, if you want to point your fingers at someone who's elevating literal anti-Jew ideology, then point at PBD and fucking quit the show in solidarity with the Jewish community. If that's how you actually feel, if you're so fucking upset about like anti-Semitism and stuff, then that's what you should do. Thank you.
100% retweet.
Do you want to take a look though at Jillian's
her Twitter
response?
meltdown?
Yeah, because this is pretty fucking hilarious. Obviously, that was pretty dramatic. But this is pretty crazy because it would be one thing. I think it would be one thing if she had just done that, but then had just come back to work the next week and everyone could act like nothing had happened. But let's take a look at this response because it's pretty crazy. She says, I want to address why I chose to step out of the most recent segment of Her Take. I have sat through many conversations that were highly critical of Israel, and I've never shied away from hearing different viewpoints on legitimate topics. However, I do not want to participate in discussions that center on unfounded conspiracy theories that could inadvertently stoke the fires of anti-Semitism. I think it's dangerous, irresponsible, and not something I'm willing to participate in. I expressed deep concern prior to the show with the other hosts, but when it became clear that the segment would proceed despite my objections, I felt the best choice was for me to leave the segment. So that's pretty normal, but this one is really crazy and some of the most like high school mean girl petty shit I've ever fucking seen.
Yeah, if we could just respond to the first part really quickly, because I think there's a lot of important stuff there, right? Let's say, Jillian Michaels, she collects herself after getting frustrated. She says, Anna, happy to let you finish, but can I speak next? Anna says, no problem. She's an adult. They're co-workers. Everybody's allowed to speak. You just won't end the fucking show, right? Okay, so she's going to get her turn to speak. Now, if I'm Jillian Michaels and I have the concerns that Jillian Michaels had, which I do not think are unfounded, by the way, anti-Semitism is on the rise in this country. I don't like her direct conflation between, Jewish people and Israel and all the kind of stuff that she often does on the show, which I also find problematic. But I do understand a genuine and sincere concern for rising anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism is out of control on the right. We just played a clip of PBD and Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes saying that the Holocaust didn't happen, and he has this whole strategy to convince people over time. So 100%, it is okay to be concerned about rising anti-Semitism and not wanting to stoke those with, unsubstantiated conspiracies. I also think it's fair to point out that Candace Owens herself has been a vile, documented anti-Semite, so maybe she does have other motivations for why she's presenting this information. I think all of that is really fair, and then I would have turned around and I would have said, guys, let's talk about Candace Owens and all the things that she's gotten wrong. Do you really think that she can be a source to corroborate this? Okay, great. Let's look at the things that Max Blumenthal has said that you guys all deeply disagree with and find untrustworthy. Okay, that's how you unpack your argument that I don't fucking trust this shit and I'm going to need to see more information. But because she follows it up with this mean girl bullshit, as Gavin put it, it all falls apart and all of the sympathy goes back to Anna Kasparian.
Yeah, 100%. And again, it's just crazy to cry wolf about anti-Semitism. Meanwhile, you have nothing to say about your boss, Patrick Bet-David, literally hiring Nick Fuentes to be your co-worker at Manect. But either way, let's go on here. To Anna Kasparian, I have publicly sung your praises. I fought for you to get the job on Her Take. That's some of the craziest shit ever, because obviously I'm not an Anna Kasparian fan, but Anna Kasparian is the biggest draw on Her Take. Like, she, out of the four ladies, is the biggest name when it comes to online news. Jillian Michaels is a washed up fucking hack from 20 years ago on some stupid reality TV show that's aged like milk. She should be thanking Anna Kasparian for associating with her and appearing on that panel. As far as Lindy Lee and fucking Amy Dangerfield, they're no names. They're nothing. No one gives a fuck. They have no fan base. Maybe, Dangerfield does because she's kind of hot or whatever.
I was like, I might consider, flirting with that fan base.
For you to have made this shitty YouTube post for clicks is sad. I posted it below for you. Hope those AdSense dollars pay you the money you're after. So it's funny because it's some grifter on grifter violence for one. They're both after the fucking AdSense money. But then like a boomer, she just posts the whole TYT live stream. We'll go back to this tweet real quick. But as you see here, this is the live stream from TYT last night. Anna decided it was like a solo show for the most part with Anna, as you can see. And she really did focus on this as the main topic. Jillian Michaels rage quits show with Anna. According to Jillian, that was a huge faux pas. That was unacceptable for Anna to have talked about it. Like, what do you think, that Anna doesn't have a right to talk about the stuff that happens on the show that she agreed to be part of? Such a weird thing.
It's very Trumpian. It's very, I made you. How dare you, speak out against me after all I've done for you? How dare you turn on me? And also ratcheting up the stakes, right? Where it's like, okay, you did rage quit that conversation. Like, people are allowed to talk about it. It wouldn't be against, it wouldn't be a problem if you went out and said, hey, I'm going to make a video. I rage quit today because of this, and I think I'm right about it, right? That's not off the table. That's not out of bounds. That's not beyond the pale, right? That is kind of what people in media do, right? And I love that Anna's taking a little bit of inspiration from the Vanguard. She might think she hates us, but she follows our lead when it comes to branding. Let me tell you what. And frankly, this is just bitch shit from Jillian Michaels. I'm sorry. I don't mean that in a gendered way, but this is weak as fuck.
Yeah, 100%. And then she says, well, I have appreciated your upset over what is happening in Gaza. Is it possible that when you start saying things on your content, like you think your God's chosen people when you behave like demons, it might be crossing the line? And again, as if Jillian Michaels hasn't trafficked in a bunch of like just straight up bigotry. Are you fucking kidding me?
She was just getting caught for saying that like slavery wasn't that bad.
Literally on like CNN or something. She was like, just saying all kinds of racist shit. But again, if it's against the Jews, you can't do it. You can be racist against everyone except for fucking Jewish people if you're Jillian Michaels, apparently.
Yeah. She was talking about how an exhibit where, they were depicting the horrors of human chattel slavery of Africans to America. And she was like, why is everything made so racial and political? I agree with the president. Like, seriously, that was her 6 weeks ago.
She's like, why did they have to blame the whites for what happened in like Cuba or whatever?
Why you gotta blame white people for things white people did? I'm sorry. I don't know what you want me to do. It sucks for me to read about too. Be like, listen to what your great granddaddy did, Zach. I don't like to hear it either.
Yeah. So she appreciates the upset. She pearl clutches over this. You crossed the line. Fucking pearl clutching fucking woke scold. When almost every episode of her take has to bash Israel, it might be overkill. It's not like Israel was this thing that people just love to talk about before Israel inserted itself onto the world stage as the #1 belligerent, aggressive, genocidal fucking nation that we happen to be funding. Like, I think everyone would be happy, myself included, to not talk about Israel if Israel just like stopped doing what it's doing. Like, it's literally the #1 thing in the news almost every week due to the atrocities that are being broadcast onto all of our timelines and television screens. We have to discuss it. And also, when it comes to the Charlie Kirk thing, because again, when do we have to discuss conspiracy theories about Israel's connection to hideous events like 9/11 or Charlie Kirk's murder? I understand, again, the aversion to wanting to traffic in conspiracy theories. But again, Netanyahu did himself no favors by going out on every fucking TV show and being like, we did not kill Charlie Kirk. We love Charlie Kirk. Here's a statue we just built to Charlie Kirk in Jerusalem. Like, he made himself look guilty as fuck. So yeah, obviously people are going to talk about that, even though I agree. I don't think that Israel orchestrated the killing of Charlie Kirk. People are still going to talk about it, especially on a lowbrow show like fucking Her Take, which revels in salacious bullshit and conspiracy slop. Obviously, they're going to talk about it.
Yeah, and why not do your job as a media critic to dispel misinformation? That is supposed to be your job, Jillian. You know how your job used to be to train people and make them not fucking fat anymore? Your job now is supposedly to dispel misinformation and to give your analysis on what's happening in current events, right? So do you know, I have to keep telling you what your fucking job is, but I'm gonna throw you a bone here, Jillian. This is what you do. They want to portray, oh my gosh, it looks bad that Bibi's doing it. You go out there and you say Bibi is honoring Charlie's legacy the way Charlie would have wanted. And then you bring a 10-minute montage of every positive thing Charlie Kirk ever said throughout his worthless fucking life about Benjamin Netanyahu and the country of Israel and why every Christian evangelical has to make sure Israel's protected so they could be saved. There's a bunch of footage up there. One day I got fucking irritated and tweeted an 1.5 hour long montage because I got sick and tired of people being like, secretly, Charlie Kirk was considering to change his mind on Israel. It's like, well, in public, he was a rabid Zionist. And that might be why the president of Israel, prime minister of Israel, is singing his praises all the time. He was like, whoa, this was one of the last guys that actually supported us publicly because it's not fashionable to support Israel anymore. Right? This was one of the last guys drawing a line in the sand who didn't go the way of Nick Fuentes, Candace Owens, all these other right-wing anti-Semites. He was one of the guys that was like, no, I love Israel. If you're a Christian, you have to love Israel. That's really important to their propaganda model. That's essential. Okay, so the reason, in my view, I think Netanyahu went out there and made a fucking fool of himself and did 100% politicize the tragedy was because Charlie was one of his last guys. Charlie was one of the last dudes that would actually come out there and say good, positive things about Israel and not gish gallop. He would be like, I love Israel. It's beautiful. Benjamin Netanyahu is a great leader. He's a special, special man. He's everything a leader should be. Those are Charlie's words. Go fight them with Charlie's words, okay? And don't fucking run away with your tail between your legs and then complain on Twitter. That's not your job.
Yep, 100%. 100%. And again, despite the fact that this may or may not have been, intended to make the anti-Israel people on the panel look bad, that totally backfired, because let's take a look at the comments. This is under the Her Take segment in question where Jillian storms out, and most of the comments are like this. I love all the ladies, but Jillian trying to shut everyone up when it comes to Israel and leaving is fucking ridiculous. Again, this is the audience of Her Take. I never comment, but I've watched every show so far. Shame on Jill for walking out. I'm becoming a super fan of Anna and Amy as fighters for the truth, and I love Lindy's composure at all times. Shame on you, Jill. This one says Jillian walking out showed weak character and was extremely disrespectful. We are Americans. This is not Israel. And again, it's like, I don't know what she thought was going to happen with this little performance. I don't really know if she actually genuinely thought anyone would be like, you go, girl. You show those anti-Semites or whatever. Like, I just don't think that's possible. And if you look at the TYT live stream, Zach, from the other night where Anna addressed this, it seems like everyone had the same take as we. Well, I guess we now know that Jillian is one of the influencers getting invited to Israel. Jillian really made herself look like she is on the payroll. Jillian is clearly over her head trying to do political content. Pretty funny, right? It's almost universal.
Look out the door if you hear an ambulance. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there. Be